Kingdom, good morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Lakhi Singh. We've had 2 days of disruption. Obviously, it's brought a constipation onto all of our listeners and all of the hosts as well. So we finally have got the solution to, I think, live stream. I think they had some technical problems, but we are back on as usual. Lakhi Singh, the live drive time sessions with Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. every morning. This morning, the question is work hard and let your success be the noise. We've been talking about it. Obviously, we've not had a chance to really get into the depth of that statement, but we will today. And we will continue, hopefully, from yesterday, because I think Deborah had lots of wonderful things to say about having a lion in your lounge, letting the lion chase you around, lots of little tips like that. Obviously, a bit difficult to achieve for those people that don't have a lion to keep in their lounge. But she was giving us excellent tips on how to positively fight the COVID in the comfort of your house, in your home, sorry. So we're going to try and get on today and continue that so we get to understand all of the points and try to scrutinize each one to find out what she's actually telling people. And can you get a lion in your living room? Is it possible? So Lakhi Singh, being the lion of Sheru, as they call you, of Punjab, you're a bit of a lion yourself. What say you? Do you need another lion in your lounge, or are you able to be the lion in your lounge yourself and chase yourself around? But before we ask you to answer that question, what's the weather like there in the United Kingdom, so in the southeast? Frozen?
It's quite dull and dreary outside, so but it's a lovely day.
Excellent. Lovely day, dull and dreary. So, tell us, do you have any recollections of your work being important enough to you that you let the success of your work make the noise? And who does that, and what that statement mean to you? Does it have a resonance with you? Have you seen or been through situations where your work and the success from your work has made noise? Give us an example. How does success make noise?
I think the way I look at the reading into what the saying of the week is that if you're focusing in on what you want to achieve, and if you're doing that, that's enough, because you're getting to hit what you're focusing in on, and then then you get recognized for it. So I think it's quite a simple saying, but it probably has a lot of undertones in terms of what it could mean or how it could be interpreted. So my simple interpretation is that if you just focus in on what you need to achieve, people around you, or the people start recognizing you if you're consistent. And I think it goes back to the word persistence and resilience we were discussing the other day. So I think if you're persistent and resilient, the work ethic that you're deploying in being persistent will actually come off, because you'll get recognized for it. But the main question is, do you really want to be recognized? Or is it more that you want to achieve something because you've set yourself a goal? Does the noise actually do you have to be recognized by anybody for your success, or is it?
I think the noise is important. It reminds me of a very poignant joke. A teacher in a class is teaching, and she recognizes or she acknowledges that 3 of the boys are missing. So one comes in 10 minutes late, and she says, "Where have you been?" And he says, "I've just had a successful day." She goes, "Okay, sit down and let's continue with the lesson." Another 10 minutes lapses, and one of the other boys walks in, says, "Where have you been?" And he says, "I've just had a successful day." And, "Okay, that's good news. Sit down." The third boy walks in about 30 minutes late, and she's really angry. She says, "Where now have you been?" He says the same. "I've just had a successful day." She goes, "Oh, that's good news. Take a seat." Then after another 5 minutes, young lady walks in and she says, "Who are you?" And she says, "I am successful day." So making a noise, I think, is important. Having a lot of noise actually is recognition of your successes. Have you ever had a successful day, Lakhi?
I've had lots of good days.
You had good
I've had
days.
good days and
Did you
bad
have a
days,
good day?
frightening days.
All right, you had good day. Did you? A younger sister? That sounds.
I haven't had the. I think that's quite a amateur joke, but I'll let you get away with it on this show. But I think actually we
Yes.
should censor this joke out because it's very. I don't think it's very PC actually.
You don't think it's PC?
Yeah,
What does PC mean?
PC
What does
means politically correct. Yeah.
politically correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Right.
first of all, is that what you're trying to teach young children going to school? You know what it should be about turning up late half an hour. So
Well,
I
no,
would
they
say,
had
you
a
know,
successful day.
it's a good joke. I'll give you about 4 out of 10, which is it's sort of good in my standards. I wouldn't say it's
Excellent
excellent
day.
or fantastic.
Excellent
So
day, I would
carry on
say.
practicing, I'd say.
Okay, sir. Right. So having a successful day or having successful day early in the morning is probably a boost to your energies. I mean, don't people want recognition, Lucky? Isn't it all about being
I would say your joke says more about you, VJ Cell, than the audience.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. Yes. Okay. Okay. The question is, don't people want recognition? I mean, isn't that something which natural? Don't you want to be recognized for doing good or doing anything? Whether you're doing a successful day, you're doing a good day, you're doing anybody, don't you want to be recognized for it? Isn't that natural?
I think that's human nature, but I don't think it's necessarily a good thing. I think reality is that humility and humbleness means that you get what you want done, but getting no recognition for it should be good enough. So, because if you're quite steadfast in what you want to achieve, the recognition is not necessarily the end point. I think it's the point that you've made the achievement is actually quite critical to what you're doing. But if recognition comes with it, because that's part and parcel of what you needed to do, and you're not, it's got to be something that's in the eyes of people around you, then fair enough. Recognition is what it is. It is what it is. But I don't think recognition is the be all and end all for what you're doing. For example, if if a family member isn't well, you want to help them to get well.
Yeah.
Recognition for it is not really important. It's insignificant.
Okay, that makes sense. I think that is one way of looking at it. And when it comes to family, I think maybe the proximity of the relationship, it's automatically accepted that you're the one who is supposed to do best for your family. And I think there's a different recognition there. This recognition there probably is more on the spiritual side rather than on the worldly side. When it comes to broader aspects of commerce, when you're doing things which are commercially orientated, or say it be that they are socially orientated, with success comes enmity as well. People get jealous. With success comes the burden of responsibility on your shoulders. But before we talk about shoulders and responsibility, we have, as usual, just like Luther Vandross in the wings, waiting in the wings, the lovely Deborah, to come in and join us, Deborah.
Good morning.
My love, you are the only one. That's Luther Vandross inviting Maria Carrion again. Today, hopefully, we should get the benefit of everything you were talking about yesterday and also more, because I'm going to be drilling down into the details of what you're telling people to do to keep themselves healthy during COVID or lockdown. I know you spoke about having a lion in your living room to chase you around. I couldn't quite figure out why. And then you spoke about having a Dalek, and you also said something about walking around in your skin dips, in your bears, to make yourself feel as if you're on the beach with all the lights on. I couldn't work out what that meant, but today we're going to ask you those 10 tips again, Deborah, to tell us how to fight the covert and the psychology behind covert, the physical and the mental. So before we continue, the question is, when you do your work, should you let your success just make the noise? Are you looking for a noisy success? Do you agree with the story we've told about the 3 boys coming in who had a successful day? And the teacher obviously recognized that the successful day was indeed someone to have. What do you say?
I think everybody has a different measure of success.
Correct?
So it depends on
context, you see. Everything you're saying has got context. Yeah, everyone's got a different measure of successful day, that's true. Someone may be looking for top-heavy stuff. Someone may be looking for bottom-heavy stuff. So what is success and who is successful day? What does she look like?
Whatever you define it as.
Yes.
Some people, success is still being alive because they're so ill. For other people, they don't feel successful unless they're making millions.
Okay.
So it depends.
Right, okay. So because you're a lady who's you're like a spiritual person on this planet, living in the north of the country, you're a bit like Madonna with her clothes on, without the ability to sing songs. That's what you are. Bit of a superstar. Yeah, a bit like Madonna with her clothes on and without a voice. So, Deborah.
Hang on, you're going to have to explain that one to me, VJ Sal, because
in detail, as we move on, as we progress, I will give you the tidbits of my thinking. But now, have you ever done something? Have you ever worked and let success make the noise? Did you ever do that in your? I mean, for me, you're having the guts and the determination to leave everything and be dropped in the middle of the jungle in the Amazon to be living with the snakes and the forest animals and having an experience that's successful. That takes a lot of courage for somebody living in the developed world, living in the comforts of your amenities, electric and gas, and I bet you don't live inside the house. You live outside the house in the snow, in the rain, and you look at the house wondering, what's that? Bricks and mortars. What's that for? Well, tell me, which bit of your life do you recognize as success?
All of it.
Excelente. That's what I was going to say. So the whole of your life is success in the sense you've gone through lots of experiences, having courage to leave the 9 to 5, the normal mundane stuff that people in the developed world do. And how do you determine the noise making in that? Have you ever had a crowd of people clapping behind you, chanting, "Yay, Deborah," or is it more recognition? One of your friends just picks the phone up and says, "Deborah, I love you for have given me that advice. It's made a world of difference to me." What's the noise in that life that you've led?
I've had both of those actually, Sal. You know, I've spoken on stages and had people clap afterwards. I've never had anybody boo me off stage.
Clap you off, you mean?
Hmm?
You mean trying to clap you off the stage?
No, afterwards have been appreciative of what I've said.
Right, you mean that clap, not that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so did that give you a boost then? Did it give you a feeling of satisfaction? Are you looking, doesn't everybody look, like he says, everybody wants some form of appreciation. That is, I think, it's a human nature. Have you ever felt appreciated for whatever you've done by a third party?
I feel appreciated all the time for what I do. All the time.
All the time. Okay, Deborah's obviously being very one-dimensional today in her answers, not giving me enough juice to tap into that brain of yours. So I'm going to flip over to Lakhi Singh. He's normally used to watching paint dry, so he's probably going to give me some juice today. So Lakhi, you yourself have done lots of things: corporate life, business life, personal life, social, entertainer. Have you ever, which one of those things that you did in your short career of experiences, which one gave you a feeling of acknowledgement?
Well, I think initially in my beginning of my career in business, as a project manager working for large corporates, I think I did actually enjoy the sense of recognition at the time, primarily because I was starting off and I had a very low benchmark, being brought up in Southall and probably not the best of areas. And then, my first job was actually working in Mayfair for Gives and Hawks. So that in itself was quite exciting, because working for one of the largest or well-known luxury brands in the world, Gives and Hawks, at number 1 Savile Row. So I think, at a day-to-day level, did have quite a few prestigious roles working in large corporates. So I think I was wowed by the sort of interest in terms of people saying, give me more about, what is it that you want to do? So becoming the head of Deloitte's global web presence and actually getting a lot of internet presence set up for Deloitte.
I'm talking
about recognition in that.
You're talking about what you've done. I'm talking about, in any of these roles, did you get acknowledgement? Did you get the noise that comes with the success? Did you get that? Did someone, yay, bust the bottle open for you? Lakhi Singh's here, just rescue us. Was any of that going on? Or was it just dry, mundane, boring corporate stuff?
I think I've had this job working as a consultant to people in property. We've had, some of the most amazing and the most, most satisfying, let's just say, at a human level, were things when people were complete, like, such a difficult position that they couldn't really get out of it. They're in such a difficult position they couldn't get out of it. Sorry?
We have another viewer coming on who's going to ask questions. Sonia Lambert, as usual, the famous, waiting in the wings. My love. Here we are. We've got Sonia Lambert who's coming. Sonia, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Missed you on Monday. Had a breakdown in communication. Couldn't get you to come on and shine your light on everybody. Sonia, you've got a question, I believe.
Hello. Yeah.
Good morning.
My question. No, that's Lionel Richie.
Yeah, he ripped it off from Lionel Richie.
Good morning. How are you?
Morning. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Sonia, you got a question.
Yeah, my question, right, talking about success.
Mm-hmm.
Well, question statement. Yeah, in terms of success, I've got an echo coming back here, so it's a bit weird.
It's probably your volume. You need to turn your volume down, maybe.
Turn my volume down. Right, let me have a go at turning my volume down. Right, what I'm going to say with success, it's not about what people think. I'm past the stage of what other people think. I think it's more about achieving personal goals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it's about for me. I'm not really bothered about other people acknowledging what I do, what I achieve. It's about, the goals I set for myself. And if someone does acknowledge them, then all well and good. But I'm not looking for people to acknowledge me, because in that way it feels like, when you're a child and you're always looking up to your parent to say, well done. And that, in a way, it kind of takes away your confidence, because you're always looking for someone to acknowledge what you've achieved.
Yeah,
so
I think it makes sense.
I kind of pull that to one side.
I think it makes sense, Sonia.
And when I achieve them, I feel good. I don't care if other people feel good. Don't say I don't care, but for me, so it's more personal. So it's more internal rather than external.
No, I think I agree with you, Sonia, because I think you gave us a very intimate understanding of your childhood and the way you were doing really well, and and maybe the support system that somebody as a child would expect wasn't quite there. So we've got to agree, the way you are brought up and the type of surroundings you have do heavily determine the way you actually perceive of success and the noise as well. Now, if we have somebody who's possibly more from an entertainment background, like we have Mr. Neuro Singh Johal on every Friday, he's a gentleman who works in the entertainment industry, and the entertainment industry needs the loud noise, because without acknowledgement by the masses, by the public, the gauge of success is irrelevant, because people want to sell records, they want to become famous, they want to become hot property. So therefore, I think the nature of what you do will determine what you gauge as the noise. And I think, Sonia, your understanding of having your self goals set and achieving those, that is quite relevant to maybe a lot of people who are very focused and very self-determining. So that makes sense. I totally agree with you. What do you say, Lakhi? What do you say to Sonia's comment? She doesn't care about what people think. Someone says good to her, wonderful. If they don't acknowledge her, she's not bothered. She's just focused on her goal. Is that the mindset of a successful individual?
I think so. I think I think somebody very wise once told me, I think it was actually VJ Sal, said this to me about, how many years was it? About 11 years ago. I had the habit of actually going to lots and lots of events, paying lots of money, lots of training on every single sort of event about self-development. So I couldn't really help myself. I couldn't really get enough of it. So one day VJ Sal actually, on the second day of my training course, he says, do you really need to be going on any of these training courses? He said, if you're feel that you're developed enough within yourself, then looking for external things to try and keep you motivated, is that really required? And I think that really made me think. So VJ Sal, thank you for those words.
Thank you too. Talking of words, we go back to
come up
Sonia.
with some nuggets about once a decade.
Century, once every 10 years. That's right.
But
Okay.
do you really need recognition?
Does anybody need recognition? I think there's a difference between saying it publicly and having it in your heart. That recognition that you've just given me is a confirmation that what I said to you was the right thing to say to you. It hardly confirms or makes me feel any better in myself, especially if I'm honest in my opinions and my advice. What do you say, Deborah? Being it due, if you were hugging a tree, what would you say at this present time?
I agree. I think success is, and the need for recognition is coming from ego. And when you can be without ego, you don't need that at all.
Very wise lady. For somebody who's had so many successes in your life, the fact that you are saying exactly what Sonia is saying, but in a different way, comes back to the use of words. Words are powerful tools. Sonia, what do you get from those two answers? Those questions, or that question that you've raised has been answered in more than 2 or 3 different levels. So it's the use of words, it's the way you perceive. The Lakhi Singh has just given us an excellent example of him giving me a confirmation of my good advice. But does it make me feel any better? Is it going to make noise for me? Maybe not, because that type of advice is only exclusive to individuals. And I think it comes from sincerity. You may give equally someone advice that they don't follow or they do follow, but they end up in a worse condition than they were at the beginning before that advice. Is it not intention? Is that not the focus of everything? So, drifting on, before we go on to the next level of topic, I'd like to give a shout out to Sonia, who just came in, Amal, Ali, Mr. who else? Mandy Sandhu, and Tracy Patrick. So we're giving everyone a shout out this morning. Thank you so much for listening. Right, Deborah, first tip on how to fight COVID.
Turn the news off.
Turn the news off. If I turn the news off, what news are you talking about? Are you talking about the local news, the national news, international news?
On television, media.
Say.
Do a detox from the media. You'll find out what you need to find out. But like it lowers your vibration. It puts people into fear. And so when you lower your vibration, you compromise your immune system.
Which vibration did you say, Deborah?
Your vibration.
Right. So is that like one vibration? Are you a big vibrator? To say it in a nice way. Are you saying I'm one vibration, or I've got lots of different vibrations?
You've got lots of different vibrations. I mean, every single organ in your body has a different vibration.
So which vibration is affected by the news?
Your whole energy. Either listen. If you're watching something really good, that lifts you and makes you happy, your vibration rises. If you're watching all doom and gloom and horror movies and violence and things like that, it lowers your vibration.
Excellent. Sonia also agrees. News is toxic. Lakhi Singh, what do you say? Do you switch off from all the news because of its negative vibrations? How do you keep abreast with your business affairs? How do you keep your finger on the pulse if you're not watching the news, Bloomberg, the latest mergers and acquisitions? You're not actually scrutinizing the details. How do you make accurate business decisions without news or without information? Let's call it information. Let's not call it news. Or should we define it? There's a difference between information and news.
Yeah, I think news is just keeping up to date with what's happening with current affairs. And information is things that maybe you're collecting or getting knowledge of, maybe going to the library, getting information, or I don't know, it's difficult to actually draw a line between the two because everything could be news and everything could be information. But I think I agree with Deborah's point. So my anecdote to what Deborah just said is that if you got really good energy and you're feeling good about yourself, I think a lot of people may not understand the word vibration. It just means that you're in the best state of mind, physically, mentally, emotionally, and that translates into having a good vibration. And if you're like that pretty much every minute of the day, the news will come to you. You don't need to go and look for the news. And so what will happen is that somebody will say something to you to read this article, or automatically you'll know really what bits of information you need to know because you're highly engaged at a very high frequency of information capture at a different level. Okay, and once you start operating at a level of, let's just say, very positive energy and sustaining it, you will automatically know what information you need to know, what you don't need to know, and you can put up your filters then.
Just one thought there. Sonia agrees, Mandy both agree that the news is extremely toxic. So they're both saying the same thing. But Deborah, are you like a walking radio? Is that what Lakhi's saying? You have the ability to pick up the news, you switch yourself on, and you will hear the news according to the positive vibes. Shouldn't you just...
Everybody is like a walking radio, VJ Sal. Everybody, we're all emitting our own frequencies and attracting into our life what is being broadcast from our own self.
Very nice way to put it. So, first bit of advice, I'm giving it a very balanced opinion. I think you should cut off from watching the television news and try to rely on more written information that you can at least verify. The second bit on this first bit of information to beat COVID in a strong way and keep yourself healthy, to cut off the news. I think reading or watching the news headlines first thing in the morning is perfectly fine, but then switch off because it's the same news that's being churned around for the whole of the 12 to 16 hours in the whole day. And there's hardly any purpose in listening to a repeat of what you've heard. And I think that is the illness, listening to the repetitive bits of information being thrown out of this one-eyed monster. And when I mean the one-eyed monster, I'm talking about the television. Yeah, I'm not talking about any other one-eyed monster, but the information that's coming out is being repeated. And I think there is no logic in listening to a message more than 36 times in the day. It only serves to hypnotize you. So I totally agree. A bit of news, I think, in balance in the morning, switch it off. Don't need to listen to any more of it because it's not really relevant. It's just a repeat of it. I think you should be aware of what's happening in the local vicinity, probably getting one of those local news magazines that tells you where the latest theatre and the latest events are going on. I think that's important. You must be informed about your immediate area. I think totally cutting off is like becoming a bit like who? Like the Psycho in that movie. You're looking at me. You're looking at me. Okay, so let's go to the next key for fighting COVID.
It's looking
Deborah.
after your diet and your nutrition, making sure that you're eating healthy food, lots of fruits, vegetables, fruit that's going to serve you, not food that's going to clog your system up and cause inflammation. So balancing the pH level in the body, you know, so that you're alkaline rather than acidic. And also,
can I just say something to that point, Deborah, which is that a lot of people are tuned into the commercial aspect of food, such as sugar, coffee, tea, fizzy drinks, you know, fast food. Now, there's a massive contrast between what you just said and what people do, because we are almost drug addicts of sorts, because those foods are actually creating the toxicity and reducing our vibrations. What say you, Vijay Sal, about this? First of all,
I think I totally agree. I totally agree with what you're saying. I think, Lakhi, what you've experienced and what a lot of people will have experienced, and those people who are not aware of what Deborah's saying are possibly being bombarded by all 6 senses. So we're talking about the 6 senses. That's taste, smell, touch, see, and what's the 5th one? Is it screening?
Listening.
Is it listening? That's right, listening. So we've got the 5 senses, and what's happening is, if all of those senses are being bombarded by negativity, so bad food is your taste, sense of smell. If you're getting bombarded with that type of stuff while you're trying to watch negative news, and then you're also listening to it, I think Lakhi is correct, and Deborah is definitely on the right way. I think the problem is people seem to find, I mean, it's happened to me, I'll be honest with you. If I'm trying to go into a diet, I'm thinking, well, everything is good. All fruits are going to be good. All veggies are going to be good. Which veggie do I eat today? So I get confused and I get lost in all the lovely colors and everything else with it. So I think, is it not a simple thing to tell people, like Deborah said, try and eat the alkalinic foods, those alkalines that keep your body neutral? Is that what you're saying, Deborah, really?
Yeah, alkalize the body, and like you picked up on sugar there, and sugar is actually more addictive than cocaine. It's one of the most addictive substances that we have, but it's not illegal, is it? But it harms our health so much. Like,
can you imagine people snorting sugar?
But we do that.
Deborah, can you imagine people snorting sugar though?
They don't need to snort it; they just eat it.
And just eat it, right? Okay, is addiction itself not the actual problem? Is it the actual food or the substance, or is it actually the addiction?
But we have addictions to everything, BJ Sal. We have positive addictions, we have negative addictions. So, you know, everybody has addictions to something, but it's about keeping that balance.
Okay, so what do you, can I ask you, I think we'll use you as a benchmark, as a guinea pig, to tell us, what is it that you're eating day to day that keeps your body healthy and well?
I have a lot of whole food, live food, you know, living food, salads,
like a real
pulses.
Like a chicken, like a chicken that's alive running around in your garden. You actually take a fork and dig into it.
No.
That's alive.
Living food, like salads.
Salads, aren't they all packed up in superstores inside plastic containers? They can't be living.
You can buy a living salad. that's in soil, living herbs, and have them growing on your windowsill.
Excelente. Okay, so the premise is alkalinic and living foods. The things that are alive, things that are still in the process of growing before you comp them and chomp them in your mouth. That's
also, I can just say, if you've got a microwave, throw it away, because microwave food changes the composition of the food and it makes it very
hard. I hear the cling cling and the ching ching of all those microwaves being thrown out of the windows. Can we hear them? Lakhi Singh, can you get rid of your microwave?
I don't use a microwave.
Excelente. There you are. A living example of good advice. Okay, Deborah. So we've got to good food. We realize what good food is. Alkalines, dairy products. Yes?
No, dairy is not good. It's acid forming in the body.
No dairy.
And
no dairy.
it forms mucus as well.
Yeah. I mean, like a bogey in your stomach.
I used to eat a lot of cheese, many years ago, and I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be just full. All my sinuses would just be really, really bad. And as soon as I cut out dairy, it cleared up.
Excellent. Okay. So Deborah's had lots of big bogeys in her stomach in once upon a time in her life. No need to eat any dairy products, or cut it out if you can, or minimize it. That's what I would say. Okay. Next tip for being inside to fight the COVID, to make yourself feel better.
Exercise.
Exercise. This is about the lying in the room. Is that the one?
Moving your body and going outside and being in nature, because being in nature is very grounding and it clears the cobwebs, and having a good fast walk around the park is moving all your body, but also taking time as well to stop and be mindful and to appreciate the beauty of everything that's around you.
Excellent. Lakhi Singh, what say you to that? I know you try to.
I think that's probably one of the most. I think that's one of the most profound points. I think just taking 5-10 minutes out, even in the morning, going for a walk, not necessarily rushing to work, but literally taking time out for yourself. Probably walking barefoot on the grass, and probably observing things that you may not normally observe, because life will just pass you by. So literally noticing things that you would normally just take for granted, even flowers, what the colors of the leaves are, what's actually changed since you walked past yesterday, noticing whatever's maybe different, maybe even the sky, maybe the when the sun is out. So just taking time out and just actually being with nature that will actually fundamentally change your day, because we're so caught up in our laptops and our mobile phones and the TV and the Wi-Fi and the Xbox, not really getting a chance to connect with real life. We're actually all becoming robots within a system.
I like to have a handful of nuts with me and feed the squirrels on the way around, and they come right up to you, and you can have some fun with them. And it's just beautiful to interact with the wildlife and nature.
Yeah, I think nuts generally are good to play with anyway. So the next point, Deborah, from you.
Drinking clean water. Get a water filter, or I know Lakhi uses the Cure water, but also getting some pH drops from Amazon or something like that, and testing the acidity in the water, because you can buy bottled water and you think it's good for you, but when you test the acidity of it, it's not.
Pardon?
So it's important to drink lots of water as well, because that toxins out of the body.
Okay, so the question is, clean water. What is clean water then? I mean, Lakhi, what do you think is clean? Is tap water clean enough for you to be cleaning out yourself from acidity? Is it good? Or
Well,
I think
but
Deborah mentioned pure water, which is perfectly fine. But what is pure water? I mean, what is good water? I mean, if you're living in the Amazon, I'm sure most of your water source probably came from the rain. Is that right, Deborah?
No, they actually brought in big barrels of water in plastic bottles, you know, the big 5-gallon
That's a bit ironic, isn't it? It's a bit ironic being in the jungle, wanting to bring in water. Were there no natural springs or sort of like...
no, there's no water. No, there was the Amazon River, and we'd bathe in that, you know, every day. But there was no running water. There was no electricity, no gas.
Wasn't you living a bit like the female version of Rambo with a big sort of like Swiss Army knife and chopping up leaves and waiting for the steam to sort of like trickle down on those leaves and sort of like drink off?
We'd do jungle walks in the rainforest and we'd like
didn't you chop those bamboo sticks, drink out the water from the bamboo stick?
No, I didn't do that.
All right. Okay, Lakhi, what is pure? What is good water? I mean, come on. You're living in sunny London. What do you expect to be good water? What is good water? Pure water, clean water.
I mean, there's quite a lot of different types of water companies out there that provide very, let's just say, detoxed water. But I think to keep it really simple and not make it too complicated, I think if anybody out there is not even drinking enough water, I think the basic message is just drinking tap water is actually probably a good idea for the moment, to just drink more water. But if you want to, once you've upped your water, I think if you can improve your quality of water and drink better water, that's even better. So there's lots of companies out there that do purification of water using carbon, and that clean the water up and get rid of all the, let's say, bad toxins that are used to purify tap water. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. So that's pretty affordable. But if you're really into water big time, then I actually drink a lot of bottled water from a company called Cure. That's got oxygen in the water as well, which means that you're getting oxygen as well as natural spring water from Cornwall. So that's probably the best quality water probably in the world, I would say, that one can drink, because it's got a combo of, the minerals, the water, and oxygen, which is going to help you boost your immune system.
Okay, so I think the fundamental of clean water has now been lost somewhere in translation with the big companies and the corporates and the sewage systems and et cetera, et cetera. I know in the north, where Deborah's probably at, and probably north of Deborah, the water is probably much more pure and cleaner because it comes from clear sources, less recycling going on in the north. But okay, let's agree water is a good thing to bring up your immune system. And I think it's an excellent excuse while you're at home to drink lots more water. I think to be on the safe side, possibly boiling the water is a good start point. Drinking boiled water, just like you drink tea, is probably one way of doing it, because it does actually, it's been proven to help clean up the organs, drinking hot water. It's a taste that not everybody can acquire, but it's a taste that will benefit everybody. And before we continue with Deborah and the next point, a big shout out to everybody who's joined us. We've crossed the 1,300 mark, and we've also got more, just under 600 viewers. Thank you everybody for watching us, to come on, to view us, and also to be joining and taking part in our early morning drive times and in the group. If any of you want to give a bit of exposure to your business, to your demands, to what you're doing in your business, the Alternative Business and Property Solutions community has been set up for that. So we don't shy away from introducing party A to party B. So, Deborah, next point, drinking lots of water we've understood. What's the next point?
Meditation, calming the mind. Plugging in and switching off. Yeah.
I thought you watch television, why would you want to plug in again?
Exactly. But you're plugging in somewhere else actually when you meditate.
Right. Okay. Tell us, how do you plug in, and give us an example of your meditation. I remember we had tidbits of your breathing techniques. Can you show us them today? Give us an example. We'll all follow and see what difference it makes to us. Continue, Deborah, with your meditation.
So there's a guy on YouTube. He's called Wim Hof, WIMHOF, Wim Hof, and he has
the Hoffman. You mean Knight Rider? You mean Knight Rider? What's it called? The Beach Babes. That Mr. Hoffman? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
He has a particular breathing technique which is really good for the body. It's alkalizing the body. They call him the Iceman because, you know, he will go and sit in baths of iced water, which is also really good for boosting the immune system, or having cold showers, which is good for boosting the immune system. But his breathing technique is when you're breathing in. In.
Yeah. And
cycles of in.
You need to tell us when to breathe out, Deborah.
You can breathe out now, VJ.
Okay, right. Okay, so breathe in.
That was quite good, actually. Well done, Deborah. It's the first time we managed to keep them quiet for about 10 seconds.
Right, Deborah, you're breathing in, and then you breathe out. Do you think about anything? Do you think of sex?
Empty your mind. Just let all the thoughts drift away.
BJ Sal, that should be easy, yeah?
Okay, breathing in and thinking of successful day and her beauty, and then breathing out.
Yeah, but you can focus on your breath during meditation, and that can help you. I wouldn't do Wim Hof's breathing method necessarily during meditation. I'd do like slower rhythmic breathing. But Wim Hof's method of breathing is really good for alkalizing, and there's a lot of health benefits to it. But meditation helps to calm your mind, and that's something that's super important in today's times when a lot of people are feeling anxious and stressed, and being able to calm the mind and just let go can just be like give you that peace and calm and change instantly.
Okay, so breathing in and breathing out using the Hoffman technique, that is running around on a beach wearing nothing but a red pair of swimmies and possibly pretending like you're driving around an automated car called the Knight Rider. But anyhow, next technique, Deborah, because we're into the last 7 minutes. I want to get, I don't want to miss all this.
Just need 7, I think, is it 6 more?
Yeah. So things that bring you joy, because when you do things that you love and that bring you joy, it raises your vibration. And when you raise your vibration, you increase your immune system, you know. So
VJ Sal, you need a successful day and you need joy. Okay.
Okay. So you have a successful day, and then you think about what you did to her. Is that what you're saying?
Who are you talking to?
Talking to you, Deborah. So you think about things you love doing, like what? You have to think about them, or are you actually going to do them in your inside while you're sitting inside the house?
If I don't love it, I don't do it. I mean, we all have certain things that we have to do because, like, we, you know, it's part of like business. So, for example, doing my books isn't, you know, and all the finances isn't my favourite thing to do in business, but I know that it's an important thing. But, so like I have to, like with certain tasks, I reward myself for doing it with things that I love afterwards.
Excellent. So you do your accounts and then you give yourself a Kit Kat or something, do you?
Sometimes I do. It's about having balance, isn't it?
Yes. Lakhi Singh, what do you do when you do your accounts to reward yourself? And can you...
I think I need to do the accounts first, then I'll reward myself.
Right.
It's a long way coming.
It's funny.
I saw that coming, VJ Sal.
Right. Okay.
VJ sounds very, two-dimensional.
Intuitive. I'm very intuitive. Yes. Okay, Deborah. So doing things you like. I'm going to give just an example because you're not explained to me what it is you're going to think about you like doing that you can do in the proximity of your... Are you in a flat or a house?
House.
In your house. That's going to make you feel better.
There's lots of things you can do. You could exercise. You could go out for a walk. You could watch something uplifting on television, or, you know, like a film or that's uplifting rather than one that's going to like bring you down.
That's interesting.
You can write, you could read some books, you could listen to audio tapes that are feeding your mind with positive stuff. Get art, get creative.
Okay, so what you're saying is it's a variety of things, but whatever you find comfort in, that's what you should actually do to keep yourself feeling positive and being positive. Okay, what's next? Next, Deborah, what do you do after that?
Being in gratitude. You know, like gratitude is the antidote to every single negative emotion. And I discovered this actually when my marriage broke up, when I was going through like a grieving process. And I'd write my journal in the evening because that helped me to express the emotion and to track how I was feeling. But every time then I started to think about all the things I've got to be grateful for, completely shifted my whole energy. And rather than being in that space of grieving, I felt so much better. So gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions, and so is love. You know, that's another tip, you know, being in the emotion of love rather than fear.
And gratitude. Okay.
On that note, we want to thank you, Deborah, for coming on the show. We are in great gratitude for coming on the show.
I don't know where that English should come from. Thanks a lot for coming on the show. Okay, I've got a point from Mandy. She says, I've got to smile more. But remember, I'm the host, I'm the compere. I have to be serious. I have to listen with great intensity to more listeners and see what they're saying. I haven't got the time to smile, but I will smile for you. Yes, Lakhi Singh, tell us, what are you grateful for? What do you show gratitude for? And does it uplift you when you're showing gratitude?
Yeah, I think gratitude is very important. I think it can easily just be, left aside because it's just seen as a bit wimpy. But I think having gratitude for everything you've got, just being alive, having food on the table, I think just starts from the morning when you wake up to be able to breathe. And again, VJ Sal told me this as well. Out of about 500 things he told me, there's about 2 that which are quite wise. So to remember those 2. The other 498 I've ignored. So I think when I was going through a stressful time, one of the things he said to me was, just remember when you wake up in the morning that you've got the ability to breathe. And I just think of that if I ever have any problems, and I have gratitude for the ability to breathe, actually, because that's just, you know, can you imagine if you can't breathe, what would happen?
Well, if you start thinking about the wisdom, the greatness of your heart that ticks like a well-oiled time machine, exactly on time to the second, every minute, every hour of the day. I mean, that's it itself is an amazing tool. Okay, we're left with only about half a minute now, and unfortunately, we've got 3 things left. So can you enumerate them? And I'm going to decide if you're available tomorrow, Deborah. I want you to come in to talk about those 3 things at any time. Are you able to come in tomorrow? We've got a guest coming in, but I don't mind you jumping in to talk about the remainder 3 things. What are the 3 things that are left?
Yeah, I can do tomorrow. Yeah. And I'll tell you about the 3 things that are left tomorrow.
Okay, excellent. We've got a wonderful guest coming on from Switzerland. We are reaching out to the world and touching everybody, not in that way, but in ways of communication. I mean, we're touching everybody. And tomorrow we will have her on, and we'll get Deborah on to talk about the last 3 important tips to keeping yourself positive while lockdown is on in Kuwait. And Lakhi Singh, last word from you, sir.
I think I love the last one that Deborah said, gratitude. So I think living in gratitude sort of says it all, really. If you can live a life where you're thankful for everything you've got, I think it'll bring a lot more happiness and joy in your life. So I think we'll leave it as that, as the last thing to say.
Lakhi Singh, the Property Fixer, the alternative business and property community with Lakhi Singh. We ask you to join in. Thanks so much for those people who are joining in every day, for those people who are watching us. Thank you so much. Do come in with your questions. I think there's lots much more we can learn. Deborah, you've been a wonderful source of inspiration. I will go and practice my breathing techniques until tomorrow. I will try to get into a state of being neutral, alkaline, and I'll be drinking lots of living things from the whole day today and tomorrow. And I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, Lakhi Singh, in the property alternative business and